Okay, I guess it started right there. So we're going to start by just putting a little bit of undercoat on here. Make sure you use a bigger brush, huh? A little bit of medium on there. Use a little bit of this medium on there. Oh, it's got a little goo in it. This is just an 8x8 crim jackets there. 8x8 gessoed panel. This was just a Dick Blick panel. And I think I'm going to get myself a bigger brush because I'm really just trying to cover this. Oh, that stuff's dirty. Clean that up a little bit. Just want to put a little coating on here, just to give it a little undercoating. Excuse me. Alrighty. A little bit of, I'm not sure I put this on my palette. I put this on my palette a little while ago, so I'm not exactly sure. It's like a rose, might be the Mater Rose or something like that. So I'm just putting a little coating on here to cover all of the white. Usually let that dry a little bit, but let's see how we do with, if I just go rub through here, kind of take off the liquid. It kind of gives me the undercoating that I was looking for. All right, put that to the side. Clean this guy up a little bit. And so I'm going to pull out the reference photo. So this is my reference photo. So let's just get this one. So this is actually a picture of a sunrise that I took a couple weeks ago when I was driving up to see. I was going to maybe take care of my granddaughter because they had daycare canceled. So I was driving from New Mexico to Northern Illinois, and I was in Oklahoma, and this was the sunrise as I was driving. So that's going to be my reference photo. There we go. All right, I think I might just stop for a second because I don't have my palette cleaned up yet. So let's just stop for a minute. Okay, let me get started on our little just gonna start laying in, kind of blocking in my colors here. And you know, my little setup here is new, so I'm going to try to do this and make something good here. Part of our sunrise at coming through Oklahoma. So what I want to do is kind of establish my dark and my light situation. So I have next to me some odorless mineral spirits, and I have some Zest It in a little jar. This is, anyway, just my little jar, but I don't have the actual bottle in here, I don't think, with me at the moment. Maybe I do, I don't know. I'm packing my stuff. I'm using Zest It. I learned this from another artist. It's called Clear Painting Medium Zest It. And I'm using some liquid. I don't know if I'm supposed to mix those or not, but anyway, both of those. The Zest It helps with the initial layer, and the liquid helps, kind of speeds up the drying. But I'm just going to start putting this stuff in, and I'm going to start with, I'm going to try to do these brightest brights. Let's see what I can come up with here. When I look at that, I'm kind of, this is more rectangular and this is kind of a square, but I'm gonna improvise here. And I'm gonna do this the way I want to do it. I'm gonna go in here. I'm just gonna kind of put some of those in, some of those little bright spots. You kind of know that this is gonna get blended into some orange here when we come back around. I don't know what that is, right? My phone dinging. We're not supposed to do this. We're not supposed to look when we're in the middle of this. I don't know. My sister's asking questions. So, okay. So I'm seeing this kind of layer of, I'll kind of set this off to the side here. I am going to put that in there. I'm going to kind of layer this up. But this was the beautiful sun just kind of popping up as I was coming through this area. It was so pretty. I think the sunrise and the sunset is just the most beautiful part of the day. So one of the things we got to remember is keep our brush clean, because when I very first started painting with oils, seemed to be one of my struggles, was trying to keep my brush clean so that I didn't muddy up the waters or the skies, if you want to call it that. So I'm going to put this initial layer down here, and there's going to be some blue in between this when I first get going here. Up here we're going to have some more red in this clouds and these skies. We come through with our that's where that is. See, I do that. I get myself mixed up where I'm at, and in there. It is kind of orange going up, this orange glow, touching to the top of that. And the blue is in there, and so this is this. See, I kind of, this, and then this. Whoa. See, because I put that on there earlier, it's not quite dry, so it kind of pulls it away. So you always have to be careful of that happening. So my sky down here is relatively. And the other thing you have to learn is about using the zested, so you don't like because I have a tendency to overdo my zested stuff. So my medium, and then it gets a little bit too watery in here. So hey, look, I just painted my phone. And you blend those colors kind of up into the sky here. You get a little bit of these, get a little bit of the red. And this is a little bit lighter up here. So we're going up here, and I'm going to come back. I don't want to get too ahead of myself putting the lights in, because that's what other thing I'm guilty of doing is getting too ahead of myself with the lightest lights. So I'm going to take some ultramarine, a little bit of white, and I have some radiant, oh, I took too much. I have some radiant blue, so I'm going to mix a little bit of radiant blue with the ultramarine blue. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to come in with this up here. A tiny bit of zested in there to help. Block this in. I'm really just blocking this in. To get started. Just keep blocking it in. So, all right, so we're going to keep on going here, but I got a couple phone calls in between there, so I had to kind of turn that off for a minute. So, anyways, back to filling in some clouds here and putting a little bit of blue, making a little bit of gray for these clouds. Not too gray. Like, I think these need to be softened up some. A little bit of gray along the ridge line of this right here, which I know that I kind of messed up my ridge line there, but it's just a happy little accident, so we can live with it, right? Just going to be a double kind of a cloud area, but nonetheless, it's kind of what we were looking for in the way of by having some red in there. It stops us from getting, green forming in there. I'm just trying to lighten these up. Like, they're dark, but they're light, but they're not. But anyway, it's just really kind of an impromptu kind of a, impromptu kind of a painting. A little bit of light There's a little bit of yellow up there. Of course, I get ahead of myself by throwing in some of these colors before I'm supposed to towards the end. But there's a lot of red kind of down here in the sunrise. So I'm going to peel up a little bit and I'm going to kind of brush this in. I'm going to brush it in over on this side too, into the sunset, sunrise. It's kind of bleeding up into the sky like that. That's such a hard edge, right? I gotta soften that edge. Kind of soften that. It's a little bit of a glare. I'm trying to like, this is my first, I don't know, I'm trying to just do my first like video that's of this. All right, so it's really super simple. It's a simple sunrise. We have some wispy clouds going on up into the sky. And there's a little bit of color coming down there, which I think is really pretty. So we have our brightness here. We have our brightness here, and we have a little bit of a cloud in there. Coming up. Oh my gosh. That scared the living daylights out of me. And right above here is some purple also. I'm going to fill that in just to try to soften it up. So we're making the clouds, and I don't want to do the tap, tap, tap. I want to put some intentional marks down, you know, so that we have some intention in here. So we have some intention here. Put some intentional brush strokes in here. We have some intention up there. I'm just going to put very little bit where our sun is popping up here. Because she's just coming up over the horizon as I was driving along there. You know how pretty that is when you're riding along. It's so bright. It's so bright. Over. Sorry about my dog. She just doesn't know what she's yelling about, or she sees somebody walking. Alright, let's put in a few more touches here. So I left a little bit open there, you can see. So I left my purples. One of the fun things you can see here is way off in the distance there is a little water tower way out there. That's how it is when you're driving across, right, through that area. Like, it's kind of flat in areas, but there's some rocky bluffs and stuff. But it is always kind of fun that there's just a few little things out there. You can just put a little representation of that out in the distance. And get a little bit on my, so the sun is there, but just go like that. Just make them look, might be a little too wide there, huh? Just straighten him up a little bit. We're gonna fix him. Put a little bit of distance in there. Don't get all detail-y about it. It's the line. Oops, that's too big. It's all the little things. You get in the weeds on the little things. That's why you can't get too little about all these things. You're not supposed to get in the weeds on the details. You get in trouble that way. But anyway, this was kind of just a fun little one because there were a few buildings in the far distance there, which I'm going to try to get really, really, really dark colors here to put them in. It's just really just a little bit of stuff out there. You know, just little guys, little things of whatever. Just barely see out there in the distance. And then right in here we have, we're going to go back through with that darkest dark. Because this is the darkest dark in here, because there was the road right there. So I'm just going to ride through right here. A little bit more dark. And I think I'm going to put a little color in there because I like the color. And there's our sunrise. I think it's kind of fun. You can see some areas where, honestly, if I want to go back in here, I feel like there should be some paler like blue up here. Let's see if my colors are going to work out for me. I didn't put enough paint on my board. I mean on my... There was a cloud coming up here, and then there was this up here. And I feel like this is a little bit darker than because we put a little ultramarine in the upper blue sky, so this down here is definitely some dark, lighter colors, and there's a little bit of straightness there. We want to kind of break that up some. So anyway, this is kind of my representation of my Oklahoma sunrise. My little alarm keeps going off, so sorry about that. I'll kind of put a little bit of in the clouds here, just to soften them up a little bit. And I really wanted this to be kind of impromptu, like got a bunch of brush strokes and everything in there. So there we go. Sunrise. Gosh, you know, I just keep saying those things, but look at, so I feel like I need to make this a little more, I don't know, I guess my reference photo kind of got squished down here on me. I don't want that to go too green. Because literally almost right there, right in here, really the brightest of the brights, right? I'm just putting a little bit of Naples yellow up here. It's my highest highlight. Feels like this is where the brightest of the brights are. Just gonna put that in right there. This is some Maple yellows on top of the and you have a little bit there. I had a little bit there. It's like so bright that it's like there was a little fluff there. You can use our finger to blend that in. Use our fingers to kind of scooch that in so it doesn't look so like a little bit of light up there. We kind of got that. So anyway, I'm going to stand back from that. I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to say that I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to piece these together, and yeah, this is just having a little bit of afternoon fun here, using some reference photos from my travel, and I'm going to have to find my little signer stick, which is in here somewhere, which I kind of loaded everything up and brought it inside. Really quickly sure where I put all these things. But, oops. Let's call it